Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Wednesday, July 8th with first pitch at 6:30. It's Woo Wednesday in collaboration with the Wu-Tang Clan. The Ferry Hawks transform into the Shaolin Hawks. Thursday, July 9th, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light drafts.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
And we're live from the living room as Doug eyes up the match day spread. He's reaching for the Buffalo wing. Perfect! Hang on, what's this? Oh, he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! Incredible! What a finish! Sensational combination! Look at the delight on his face. There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a pack of Pepsi Zero Sugar for today's match. It's poetry in motion.
Breaking news.
And what a news night it is here on the Rita Cosby Show. Just a few moments ago, Graham Plattner officially suspended his campaign. What an embarrassment. What a disgusting human being. What a pathetic man. And even in his suspension, withdrawal of his campaign, saying he's going to file the papers so someone else essentially can run now for that seat against Susan Collins. Well, Graham Plattner didn't admit anything. No contrition. He was defiant, and he kept blaming everybody but himself. Didn't apologize to the women who have accused him of physical and sexual assault. Didn't apologize to his wife. Didn't apologize to everyone for his despicable comments about veterans, about police, about gays. What about the sexting? What about also trashing so many great individuals? I think about Teddy Daniels, the Purple Heart recipient. Boy, does he deserve an apology from this guy. What about Chris Kyle, who passed away, the great American sniper? I think his wife deserves an apology. Taya Kyle. But yet, Graham Plattner on the way out was just as much of a scumbag as he's been from the very beginning. 11-minute video. He pulls over on the side of the road because he's a piece of trash on the side of the road. And so it's fitting that roadside garbage ends with roadside garbage. Here is Graham Plattner finally saying what we all knew needed to happen.
And so we're suspending campaign operations. I want to make clear, though, I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw. The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics.
Desperate is a good word to describe Graham Plattner. Your reaction tonight to what truly has been, I think, a political earthquake in the sense that this guy ever ran to begin with. The fact that the Democratic Party claims that they sort of vetted him, well, boy, did they miss the mark. And then when they found out all these things about him, even some of the things in the vetting process, like the Nazi tattoo that he had on his chest for 17 years, they still said, this is our guy. This is the guy who is the best person to represent the beautiful state of Maine. That, to me, is such a pathetic new low in American politics. And I don't know if it can get any lower than Graham Plattner. Maybe his withdrawal speech is the new low. Because I listened to it tonight. It's 11 minutes long. And he was crying like a little baby at certain points, saying, oh, I feel so bad. But no apology. And then he starts blaming the Democratic establishment. The Democratic establishment who gave this guy who's an oyster farmer, whose only customer is his mother. And here's my prediction, or here's my advice to his wife. Leave, and leave now. Because this guy is one big pile of blank. He is one big pile of trouble. And I don't know why she stayed with him to begin with. she better get the heck out, because I bet he's going to be on his little Kick app sexting potentially underage people, maybe in a matter of minutes, maybe a matter of hours. But it's going to start soon, because this guy clearly has what many people are saying is a history of abuse. And boy, it seems like he's cheated not only Maine voters, he has cheated his wife, and he's cheated a whole bunch of people. This is a whole new low. And this, I think, also will cause insurmountable harm, I think, to the Democratic Party. Tonight, all I kept thinking about is, you deserve this, Democratic Party, because they stayed with him until the polls showed that he might lose to Susan Collins. They ignored it when he had the Nazi tattoo. They ignored it when they saw him doing all this trashing of the veterans and police and everybody else. They were willing to stay with him there, guys. And now tonight, oh boy, we didn't know. We had no idea. And then they're going to do the old switcheroo, just like they did with Joe Biden. Remember putting Kamala in? Same thing with Swalwell. Remember all the women that came forward and a lot of the information that they knew. And yet it wasn't until it looked like he was going to lose in the polls that they decided, maybe we got to put this information out there. What about putting the information out there because it needs to be told? Oh, I guess not. You're willing to take anything, including a pile of trash. And that's what I think of Graham Plattner. So here's a little bit more about this stunning roadside, I'm withdrawing from the race. And listen to what he says about the allegations. He says every single allegation against him just isn't true. Boo, hoo, hoo.
Hey, everyone. It's Graham Plattner here. I think as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear, this is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real. It has placed an immense amount of weight on me as I think about what needs to happen now. Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics. We had no desire to run for office. I just want you to think about like what you would do as a regular person in a position where a much larger world, large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true. I learned about this through press inquiries, with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end.
I don't know if you guys want to blow your tops off, but I do when I just heard what he just said. So what would you do if you were a regular person? Well, a regular person, I don't think, is on Kick, married, newly married, in a towel. That is correct. That is him. That's not a false allegation. A person doesn't get a death camp guard Nazi tattoo on his body and have it there for 17 years and then think that we're all stupid, that he has no idea what he is. He thinks, what, it's Mickey Mouse or something? I mean, this guy must think we are all stupid. And then on the way out, he doesn't even have the dignity to say that, boy, I did things wrong. Boy, I'm really sorry for what I dragged my wife through and those women through and Maine through and America through. No, no, no. It's everyone else's fault. It's the corporate media's fault. It's the Democratic establishment's fault. He's the victim here. And I'm telling you, when I looked at his eyes tonight, I saw the same guy that some of these women were saying burst into their home. a defiant, nasty, mean, unforgivable, unrepentant, defiant man. And I am embarrassed that this was the new low in American politics, that this guy was ever picked. So I want to hear your calls tonight. I'm done ranting here on the Rita Cosby Show. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And as a woman, the fact that this guy was ever even considered to run, ever thought that he could run and his skeletons wouldn't come out. This is a message to all men. No means no. And if a woman says no, you better listen. This guy could get charged with rape. He is clearly, at minimum, a despicable, disgusting human being who thought he could get away with it and is still hoping he can right now. And I hope that the Maine Democratic Party, and I hope the Maine voters, and I hope the Maine DA all look into this. Because the statute of limitations against rape allegations, if they are true, is still in effect. And he has time that he could be seeing bars as opposed to Kleenexes. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Gregory in Michigan. Gregory, real quick tonight on line 4. But Gregory, before we get to Iran, your thoughts on Graham Plattner?
A bit bothered. It's Mr. Positive. I'm a little bit bothered that you said that men, all men, when women say no, mean no. That's understood. But here's the thing. Actually, it doesn't.
Hey, Gregory, hold on. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's understood to Graham Plattner, because I heard nothing in there tonight that said, he didn't even say, oh, maybe my actions were misunderstood. Not that there's anything I don't think there's any misunderstanding here. If you listen to the women, there's no misunderstanding. They were clear. He's showing not one sense of remorse. He wants us to believe all these allegations are completely false, and that includes everything. And that's why I started with the Nazi tattoo. Because do you believe he had a Nazi tattoo on his body for 17 years and didn't know what it was?
Of course, you're right. He knew what it was. But here's the thing. Your opening statement made it feel like all men do such things.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I didn't say that.
Go what you said. To all men, no means no.
Yeah.
To all men.
Yeah.
So I'm believing that you're putting us down, thinking that all men would do such a thing.
Gregory, I'm not saying that. I'm saying to any man who crosses the line. And by the way, that goes for all sides. You know, if somebody says no, it means no. Physical abuse, all of this stuff is reprehensible. And that's not to, there's so many wonderful men out there. There's so many great people out there. Gregory, this is not, you don't have to defend all mankind. I'm a fan of men, all right?
I hope so.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of men, all right? So, you don't have to do this, but I'm not going to defend Graham Plattner, and nor should you.
No, I wouldn't either. But getting back to Iran, because Trump called them scum, is he calling the regime scum or the people in general Iran scum?
Oh my God! Are you getting into like vocabulary city tonight, Gregory? Because he's clearly calling the regime scum, because they're the ones who are running the show there. Sadly.
Yes, let's hope. And he's got to realize that he's got to become friends with NATO. Proximity creates safety. We're 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles from a regime that wants to destroy us. Don't you think it's in our best interest? Mr. Positive wants to know that it's in our best interest that we should have NATO allies prepared to fight for the United States of America? Boom, shakalaka. You know I'm right, Rita Cosby.
Well, and hang on, Gregory. I will say I agree with you that indeed, yes, we do need to have allies in that part of the world. Of course we do. But President Trump's mission is to get them to step up and do more. Because I think you will agree, Mr. Vocabulary, that indeed you don't have to necessarily, you can be there physically, but if you don't step up, like we saw with Iran, they didn't step up with Iran. You know, how many of those countries, how many times, he asked for UK? They didn't step up. Spain didn't step up. Italy didn't step up. And obviously President Trump is woefully disappointed, and deservedly so, with those countries. They didn't offer, he wasn't asking for a lot. He was just curious if they would step up to help with Iran, with the Strait of Hormuz, all that stuff. They did not. So it's good to have good allies in the region, but they also have to do their part too. So it's a mutual issue. Gregory, very interesting. That's for sure. 1-800-848-9222. And we'll continue after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show.
Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle, the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix this Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
And great news tonight. Graham Plattner is out of the race. I'll play for you later on in the show. I think my favorite line of the night was John Fetterman, again, a Democrat, the only one who seemed to have had the guts to stand up to Graham Plattner essentially from the beginning, seeing what we all saw. And he said, the trash took itself out tonight. That was his reaction to Graham Plattner leaving the race. Yay, a Democrat with a conscience. Let's go to Alice in Ohio, line 3. Alice, your thoughts tonight. Wow, what a big night.
Oh, yes, Rita. And your business is communication, and no one does it better. The Graham Plattners of this world, if I pronounce his name, belong in the Gray Bar Hotel. I hope that his victim takes him to court. Also,
I do. By the way, I do too, Alice. I do too, because this to me, for him, if indeed, and I always say, if these allegations are true, they are so serious, they are so horrific, and there is zero repentance from this man. If not, he seems like the kind of guy who's going on the attack, as we have seen against the victims. So to me, he has clearly not learned his lesson. And if they're true, he should be behind bars. Don't you agree?
Yes, he belongs behind bars, and for a long time. All of these women need to come forward and back this woman up. It took courage for her to go public and for her full face to face a camera and describe in detail what this man did to her.
You know, Alice, disgusting. I'm so glad you're talking about that, because I agree with you. It was extraordinarily courageous and brave of these two women to come forward and say, here's my name, here's what happened to me, this was someone I cared about, but they absolutely were violent with me, in one case rape. And to me, I hope this sends a message to other women that you need to come forward, that you will have support, and that eventually the truth and justice prevail. That, to me, is the great message from tonight.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Munson, Massachusetts, where a teenager who was reported missing near the Connecticut state line was thankfully found safe after a very extensive multi-agency search that spanned 2 days. The 16-year-old boy, Mateo, who is nonverbal, he also has Down syndrome and has 2 dogs, a boxer and a pit bull, were reported missing on Tuesday morning. Now, authorities said that he had been missing for more than 24 hours before they got information about his disappearance. Suddenly, as soon as they learned about that, they put out an all-points bulletin, a Connecticut State Police canine team, and others came in to take a look. Now, before he was found, he was seen leaving his residence on a street, and police said that they later found security camera footage showing him traveling south towards Connecticut with his dogs. Now, a resident later reported seeing the teen in a front yard of a home about 75 yards from the Connecticut border. They ended up searching in a very remote area with very rugged terrain. Officials brought in additional resources, including ground search and rescue teams, and also the Massachusetts State Police Air Wing and multiple canine teams. Thankfully, they were able to locate him. He was taken to a hospital as a precautionary measure, but is expected to be okay. And the chief of police from Munson saying this was a massive interagency effort, and it led to the best possible outcome. Thank goodness this young boy is safe and sound, and thanks to the great work of our men and women in blue. Well, we are talking about Graham Plattner, who just put out an 11-minute video. He literally, it looks like, and what we're hearing from reports, didn't do it at his house. It's like, where is he doing this report? And he starts crying a little, getting all teary-eyed at least multiple times in it. And it's an interesting video. You got to see it because he's like, oh, this is terrible what happened to me. Woe is me. Meanwhile, the guy is accused of some very, very horrible things. And he's got the Nazi tattoo, and it's his posts where he's slamming police and a number of others. So it's not all made up, Graham Plattner. And my belief, I don't think any of it's made up. My personal belief. So here is Graham Plattner, because even in the end, he said, this is not me saying I'm guilty. Oh, no, I did nothing wrong. How dare all these people try to push me out of the Senate race, and I'm being forced out by the establishment and false accusers. Poor, sweet Graham Plattner. Listen to this.
This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are. We went toe-to-toe with one of the most entrenched political systems in the history of the world, and we won. We beat them on June 9th in overwhelming numbers. We did it the right way. We built a campaign. We engaged in electoral politics. We motivated people. We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change. And we won. And now they are not going to let us have it.
What a disgraceful comment. We did it the right way? The right way what? Wearing a Nazi tattoo? You did it the right way by cheating on your wife? You did it the right way by barging into somebody's house, breaking and entering? You did it the right way because you're accused of rape? And then he says he has an immense sense of responsibility. What about a sense of responsibility to these victims? He needs to start apologizing, repentant. This guy needs to be, I think, locked up. If he indeed did do these crimes, he needs to be locked up because this guy shouldn't be roaming wild on a sex app where he can start picking up chicks again. I mean, this is a frightening scenario. This guy is bonkers. That's my opinion, guys. And I think he has no self-awareness. He needs to get help. So maybe he'll finally admit to his crimes and at least admit to the crime of lying to America about his tattoo. That's a good place to start. And if he did those other things, well, then he should be punished appropriately in the court of law if he did those. Here is John Fetterman, Senator John Fetterman, the voice of reason in the Democratic Party. Remember Mr. Hello, Good Night in the debate. Well, since that moment, it's been all uphill for John Fetterman. And here he is tonight and had the line of the evening right after the news broke about Graham Plattner.
That was Graham Plattner sitting on the side of the road announcing that he was suspending his campaign, tearing up numerous times and denying all the allegations against him. Joining us now, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman over the phone. Senator, thank you for calling in and joining us. What did you make of that announcement?
I'd say that the trash took itself out, threw it out. Yeah. And now he leaves an accused rapist. He's the guy he'll be remembered, a guy that spent 10 years in Kick, the platform. That's the Predator's Paradise. He now defiled his marriage and sent sexual messages to women as a newlywed, and all the things he said. Now he gets to go away. He can go back online. He can go around doing all the kinds of things. But the trash took itself out tonight, and now finally people in Maine have a chance to really vote on someone that's not a piece of trash.
How would you like to see that process carried out in Maine?
I don't know, but it's like he gave that weird long speech. It's like no one wants you anymore. I'm like, bro, you are an accused rapist. No one wants your endorsement. No one cares what you think. You are going, straight back into oblivion. And now that's the reality, to give that weird long speech and pretend like people will miss you. No one's going to forget you other than the guy that was pushed out of the election because a woman credibly accused you of raping her. So that's his legacy. All that weird long speech, that's his legacy. He will be remembered as an accused rapist that was forced. He acted like he had a choice. Like he's always been a dead man walking. So it's a good day.
He choked up a couple of times during that announcement. Do you think he thinks he's the victim here?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He is acting like he's the victim here. And I love John Fetterman. How great is he? Saying the trash took itself out tonight. Bravo, John Fetterman. He's been great on Israel, and he's been great on Graham Plattner. And maybe one of the few voices in the Democratic Party on both. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Nathan in New Jersey, line 4. Nathan, your thoughts tonight.
Hey, firstly, I just want to say I love your show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Nathan.
Secondly,
Thank you very much.
Sure. Secondly, I want to say I think that actually Graham Plattner's tattoo and Iran, I think they tie into each other. I think it's two sides of the same coin. I think that the coin is just honesty and trust. I think no one believes Graham Plattner that he didn't know that he had a Nazi tattoo on his body for 17, 18 years. That's just not something anyone's going to believe. And he's painted himself as a liar just from that. So now with all the rape allegations, no one's going to believe him when he says that he didn't do that. And I think that I got to commend the president. That's exactly what the president was doing when he called the negotiators in Iran scum. That's what they are. And he's just calling them out. He's being as brutally honest as he can. And as someone that immigrated to America from Canada, I love that. I love the fact that he's going full hardcore. He's calling people out for what they are, for who they are. I think scum, the definition is basically dirty and low. That's how they are in the negotiations. And I think it's great to see the contrast between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party in terms of their honesty.
Well, I think it's really interesting, Nathan. You just said you came from Canada, too. I agree with you. I think it's refreshing because they really are, first on Iran scum. And I think that's a good word to describe Graham Plattner, too. And I think there's just been such a hypocrisy. You know, when you see now, especially coming from the Graham Plattner stuff, the fact that I just played a lot of his statements. He's not accepting a shred of responsibility, and he's blaming the political Democratic establishment in Maine. Like, how dare they push him out? And he's also blaming the media. And meanwhile, he got such a free pass on the media. I'll never forget early on, he did an interview on MS Now, and it was like a love fest. You know, they asked him a question. Oh, yeah. Can you be sure that those people, when you're on the sex app, are adults? Oh, yeah, I'm positive. Okay. You know, I mean, you know, it was so ridiculous. So when you see all this, what goes through your mind, Nathan, about A, our great country, and B, I guess, is this maybe a message that truth always prevails in the end?
I definitely say that truth always prevails in the end. I actually think it's ironic that he's playing victim because I think that's very on brand for the Democratic Party. Their whole party is based on, finding the victim and then kind of blowing them up into making them a big deal. And that's why you should vote for the Democrats. And it's funny over here that he's kind of going along with their party theme of branding yourself as the victim. And he's just doing it. He's doing it towards his own party now and saying that really he's the victim of the Democratic Party, which I think is quite ironic. And I just love America. I think that it's moving in the right direction, especially under President Trump. And it's nice to see that the truth will always come out.
Yeah, certainly is. And it's great to get your perspective being an immigrant coming here. Nathan, thank you very much. I'm really glad you got a call back again. It was great to hear from you. Thank you very much. The number to call, everybody's 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey, line 1. Go ahead, Sandra.
Hi, Rita. So glad this is happening for him. You know, he would have done such irreparable damage had he gotten in because of his personality. He would have really been a disaster, you know. And I also am a little bit worried about the women that spoke up. He better not harm them in any way or threaten them in any way or do anything like that. I was thinking about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very good point. I mean, who knows what someone like that, if these allegations are true. And one of the things I heard tonight was more of the interview with Lindsay Fifield, Sandra, and that was the woman who first came forward. Remember the one that said that, okay, the New York Post didn't really even take her seriously. She's the one who's conservative. Jenny Rassicot's the Democrat. But Lindsay Fifield, and it was interesting because now that we heard Jenny Rassicot, remember Jenny's the one who said that he barged into her house unannounced, remember, and came in and then raped her. Very serious allegations. And the way she kind of described him stalking her and that glazed look in his eye and that he was so drunk and all this other stuff. Then I heard tonight other pieces of this interview from this other woman, as I mentioned, Lindsay Fifield. And she described sort of him stalking her, that he would just show up unannounced all the time. After she started dating somebody else, he showed up a whole bunch of times. Very threatening, even on snowy days, like crazy. She said, I never felt safe in my house after that. And then she also was talking about the glazed look in his eye. It was almost like, and these two people did not know each other. I don't know if they know each other now, but they did not know each other, I think, at the time. And that to me is scary. When you see a pattern like that, doesn't that say a lot to you?
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking maybe I'm a little worried about these women now, because he could blame them for what happened and be very, very angry, get very vindictive, but he can't, though, because we're all watching him, and he's crazy if he does anything more. He'll really dig his grave. So, you know.
I agree. And you just hit it on the head. The whole world knows the story. We know the story. We believe the women, and he knows that. And he's going to have to go back to maybe being an oyster farmer with his only customer, his mother, once again. Sandra, thank you very much. It is a good day for justice. Not a good day for oysters, but a good day for justice. 1-800-848-9222. And everybody, we will continue your calls here on The Rita Cosby Show. See ya, Graham. And coming up tonight, President Trump talking about the many threats against him, so much so there clearly were some security issues because he only took Air Force One, the new one, back home part of the way. When he left Turkey, he took the old one. So the new one, clearly there had to be some checks on something. And it just shows the threat environment against this president and many people close to him. In the meantime, also, Graham Plattner, this is a big issue. Everyone's talking about. President Trump was asked about it also on Air Force One. We'll talk about some of the comments that he made because everyone has been watching this. And the big question now is, who are they going to put in Graham Plattner's place? What does this mean for the race against Susan Collins, who's an incumbent senator and done a great job for the state of Maine? She's been there a long time. Will they put somebody in who could potentially beat her? Was it better for her politically to have Graham Plattner in there? I think she could have clobbered him. And I hope that whoever gets replaced and put in this position, that she beats them as well. The Maine Democratic Party is a disgrace. And the fact that they allowed this guy to be in the race says it all about their own judgment. And what is this, like another switcheroo? Remember, Joe Biden, he's spry as a kite. He's not doing well in the polls. He didn't do well in the debate. Let's do a switcheroo. Eric Swalwell, he's the greatest. He's an attack dog on Trump. We love him. Wait a minute. He's not doing so well in the polls. Let's push him out. So you seeing a pattern here? I sure am. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Tom in Poughkeepsie on line 4. Go ahead, Tom.
Good morning, Rita. I like to listen to your program at night. You're very good.
Thank you.
I'm Republican, but my general question goes to the whole public out there. Why can't we get better candidates to run for office? New York City, Chicago, Maine, New York State, elsewhere. What is it in the American experience is that on local levels, and even on state and national levels, lately the past 10 years or so, the candidates we put up are dreadful. And the one in Maine is one example. Our governor is another example. The people who elected the socialist communists in New York City should be ashamed of themselves. The general question is, in elective office, why can't we get better candidates?
Yeah, you know what? It's a great question. I think part of it is so many people that are involved in the process are, political favors here. The process has become so nasty and so much mudslinging that maybe a lot of good people don't even want to be a part of it. They don't want to drag their families through it, even if they don't have trash like Graham Plattner had clearly in his background. And maybe good people just don't want to be a part of the process and the mudslinging and the backdoor deals and all that other stuff. So I feel like with all of those things, you're right. We need to fix the process, not just the candidates. We need to make sure that we have a process worthy of inspiring people of integrity, because it used to be that way years ago. We need to go back to it where it's a noble, great profession. There's some good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones.